In 1973, George Lucas began shopping a 13-page treatment for a mythic sci-fi action-adventure called The Star Wars, set in the 33rd century and featuring a 60-year-old Luke Skywalker. Universal and United Artists passed on it, but 20th Century Fox's Alan Ladd Jr. offered Lucas $10,000 to develop the screenplay. As Lucas wrote for 2 years, he began pouring his own money into development by commissioning Ralph McQuarrie and Colin Cantwell to create preliminary artwork, founding Industrial Light and Magic to produce the effects, and hiring Willard Huyck and Gloria Katz to polish the dialogue. At one point, Lucas passed up more points to retain ancillary rights, including sequels and merchandising. He had spent over $400,000 when final approval for the $8.2 million budget came in 1976. As shooting loomed, Lucas held months of casting sessions, part of them simultaneously with Brian De Palma for his horror film Carrie. Many of the actors were jointly up for parts in both films. Harrison Ford got the role of Han Solo by initially helping other actors read. Shooting began on March 22, 1976 in Tunisia, where sets were being built up to 8 weeks prior. Searing heat, powerful winds and sandstorms, broken machines, unwieldy costumes, cast injuries, and a freak rainstorm slowed production. On April 7th, shooting shifted to England's Elstree Studios, where a record heat, strict union crews, and Mark Hamill's eye injury, which prevented close-ups until the final days of shooting, further derailed production. Rushing to meet deadlines, Lucas had 3 full crews working at one point. As production lagged, Fox shifted the original release from Christmas 1976 to summer 1977. By the end of principal photography, ILM had spent 1 year and half of its budget to produce an array of innovative technology, but little else. Lucas fired his first editor, sparking Richard Chew and Paul Hirsch to work around the clock with Lucas and his wife Marcia to recut. The intense workload put Lucas in the hospital for hypertension, but he continued nonetheless. Reshoots back in America were complicated when Mark Hamill mangled his face in a car wreck, causing Lucas to film pickups with a double. To pump up pre-release interest, Lucas and Charles Lippincott inventively tapped sci-fi conventions and released a comic book and novelization. Despite positive preview screenings, Fox still tried to force exhibitors to book Star Wars in order to get The Other Side of Midnight. The film opened to long lines at 10 a.m. on May 25, 1977. A stunned George Lucas first saw the lines snaking around Mann's Chinese Theater while eating nearby. Critics gushed enthusiastically, and audiences went virtually crazy, skipping work, trying to sneak in, holding picnics in line, and staying for repeat viewings. It played in some theaters for a solid year. Star Wars had 11 Oscar nominations and 7 wins, including costume design, film editing, art direction, music, sound, and visual effects, and is listed as one of AFI's top 100 movies of all time.